I mean, here, I don't feel like they're complaining. I think that the customer base that we have has been pretty compassionate in that respect. Me and Mikey do live happy hours every Thursday, and, our sign off is kind of, telling people to remember to support those independently owned restaurants. Take that extra drink at the bar with your friendly bartender, be patient. Every restaurant is, short staffed. So I think the majority of the public out there has been receptive to that and is understanding to that. So that's good. That's one silver lining of the whole thing. I mean, I just think it's happening so many places that it's becoming the norm.
People have gotten used to going out to eat and, for so many years of their lives, this whole pandemic thing's only essentially, well, now we're quite a few years into it, but, they just become accommodated to getting things in a certain period of time, and, sometimes they forget that, or, there's such thing as being hangry. I get hangry, I often wait too long to decide to go somewhere to eat, and then you get in there and you want something now, or you want it quicker because you've allowed yourself to get that hungry, and you lose sight of sometimes where things are at, maybe, I don't think people, go out of their way necessarily to get mad or
I don't think there's any
have issues,
about it,
but sometimes you just find yourself in a situation in a hangry mood or whatever that, you're just a little more anxious and you want your food, and, sometimes some people may, say something or whatnot, but I mean, nobody's, been overtly really, out of line or anything.
Right. I mean, I guess have kindness, have patience, have understanding, get out there and still support those locally owned restaurants. Because I don't want to bash on corporate, but corporate's going to be okay, because corporate, they have an umbrella over them that's going to be able to make modifications quickly in order to, make sure that their business goes in that respect. When you're a small independently owned restaurant, it takes a lot more to make those changes and make sure that, go through your budget and make sure those changes are going to make it worth it. And the staffing issues, in all honesty, anybody out there that has any sort of interest to go out and try their hand in a restaurant, whether it's serving, bartending, high school kids dishwashing, high school kids wanting to learn the kitchen. I mean, the Food Network has blown up the whole restaurant industry. Get them out there. Have them get into the restaurants. Any restaurant right now would be so happy to have anyone that's willing to learn, wants to learn, and wants to be there. I think that, hopefully I'm speaking for all of us, but I think that's just where we're at. It's not that we'll just take anybody, but right now we need more than ever for people that are interested in the industry and want to save it and want to keep it alive. Because that's really where I feel like we're at right now. I think some of our, obviously in the beginning the strategies was the to-go end of it, doing to-goes, doing family meals, things like that. For us, probably early last year that kind of died down for us. And honestly, our business picked up here at the precinct. Our business picked up so much, even last year at this point, that on Fridays and Saturdays, because of staffing issues and everything, we didn't even have the capabilities to do much to-goes on the weekends. We wanted to set our customers that were in the dining room as priority first because they were coming out. Because people can get impatient as well if they're calling in an order and they're waiting outside, and because they can't see in, they can't see what's going on. So, those were some of the things that we did in the beginning, and that for us has just kind of died down and died away. But really the to-goes is what we did. We did senior meals last winter. Judy, you were here and, being part of that with us. Last year, I think we raised $8,300 to do senior meals for the shut-ins. This year, we tried to do it. We just got the $1,200 that we wanted to. And that was for a one-time delivery. So last year, we went from December all the way into February that we were doing meals for seniors. So I don't know. That's totally different too. We thought that was going to blow up, but COVID started to blow, COVID or variants, whatever you want to say, was starting to blow up in December again. So I don't know. I don't have any answers for it of what, the restaurant industry is never predictable to begin with, but the last 2 years has been whew.
Well, the strategy then was very much, essentially because we were closed, not allowed to have people in the building. That was kind of was forced upon you. There was no other real option other than to do to-goes or the family meals or those sort of things. You know, like you said, I mean, there is no, you have to kind of just adapt as things come, you know, with cases picking up or whatever. Now, you don't know, you know, people that maybe don't want to come out as much. I mean, there's the weather already in Wisconsin that, you know,
Mikey
people
hates
battle.
Wisconsin
I battle
weather.
myself, so, you know, I wouldn't go out as much as it is, you know, and then you have that on top of it. You know, those things kind of compound, you know, so you can't necessarily pinpoint all the factors and what the greatest factor is, you know, and yeah, people aren't calling for pickups. It's maybe not in their mind as much anymore, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, and
You
for
know,
us,
and
during the
they're
week we can do
battling-
it, but Fridays
they're-
and Saturdays we can't. Like,
Yeah, and they're battling cost of the food they're cooking at home, you know. So some of them may be cutting back, saying, "Well, my grocery bill is X high. We're not going to eat out as much because, you know, the groceries and the things they're making at home that you normally you think, oh, you save yourself some money by, you know, cooking your own meal or making stuff at home is costing them more.
Yep.
You know, they got to make cuts elsewhere, and sometimes that may be as well. You know, they're not going to go out to eat as much because
yeah, and typically
they're getting hit at home right on the front end.
Yeah, typically when the economy goes wonky like this, restaurants are always one of the first. Entertainment and restaurants is how I look at it, is the first thing cut out of people's budget. It just is. We're an extra. We're that extra fun thing. So if it's not there in the budget, they're not doing it. I mean, I've seen that. I, you know, opened my first restaurant in 2007. We had 2008 hit. I thought that was the worst time I was ever going to be through. It's not like that. I would take 2008 over the last 2 years any day of the week. But back then in 2008, restaurants were, I mean, it wasn't as publicized, but we were a bit cut out because their wallets were, they were keeping it in there. So, and that's where we're at this point, I think, a bit too. So, I mean, we're all feeling it that way.